Hi, I'm Lindsay Nataki, pediatric speech language pathologist, and I'm here today to help you work on speech and language at home. Welcome back to my channel. This is the first video that I am making in 2020. I hope everyone had a great holiday break. I had so much fun with my family, my friends, and my older brother just had his first baby, and that's the first niece and or baby in our family. So we're just loving spending so much time with her. So I hope you guys did too. Today I'm going to talk about stimming. I'm going to talk about what it is and then what you should do about it. Should you stop it? Should you replace it? Ignore it? So let's get started. Stimming is defined by repetitive body movements or repetitive movement of objects, and it is closely related to children with special needs, specifically autism. This can look like flapping of the hands, rocking their body, humming, moving an object near their eye, or kind of cutting their fingers and looking in the peripheral of their eyesight. It can even be jumping around, hitting, or pinching. What a lot of people don't know is that everybody stims, whether you are typically developing or neurodiverse. If you think about when you're nervous and you might chew your nails, or you might move your leg or chew on your hair, any of these kind of nervous behaviors are also a stim. It's just that society views these types of stim as typical or acceptable, and then a lot of the stimming that we see that is related to autism, society views as abnormal. I'm going to give you 3 tips when it comes to stimming. Tip number 1, find out the reason why they're stimming. There could be so many different reasons why a child is stimming. If you think about someone who's typically developing and they're biting their nails, usually it's because they are nervous or anxious. And the same goes for kids with special needs who might be stimming. It's a way to regulate themselves or cope with some kind of emotional feeling that they're going through. Sometimes it could be a sensory issue. So maybe they're seeking that deep pressure, so they're running into things, or they're seeking a vestibular input. So when they look out of the corner of your eye and you spin, it gives you the same effect as what you feel when you're on a roller coaster. So they might be needing that sensory input in order to focus. Some people with autism focus a lot better when they're not looking at you and when they're scribbling or doodling with something or fidgeting with something in their hands. So it could be a way for them to try to focus. The reason why it's important to figure out why your child is stimming is because you can replace it with another behavior that maybe is less distracting or less harmful, but you need to know the root of why your child is stimming so that you can replace it appropriately. So that brings me to tip number 2. You can replace the behavior with another behavior. Just like all behavior, stimming is a way for your child to communicate or regulate himself. So I would never tell a child, stop doing that. You know, if he's spinning in circles, I wouldn't say, don't do that. I would kind of think maybe he needs a sensory break, and I would want to teach him where and when he can do that more appropriately. Because let's say he's trying to spin and there's a lot of friends nearby, and he might hit them, then we might need to incorporate a sensory break where he can swing on a swing. That is more appropriate. If a child is stimming and he's not harming anybody else, he's not, he's just kind of being himself, then I would kind of let him be. Especially there's certain situations, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit later. You do have to assess the situation and see if it's appropriate, or if he's harming himself, then obviously we want to replace that behavior. So let's say the child is hitting his head on something. Then you're going to want to replace that behavior because you don't want him to keep hitting his head. So what you could do is, if he's seeking that deep pressure in his head, you could give him something that he could push onto his head gently, or you can even apply that pressure for him and show him that, if he is seeking that pressure, he can kind of do it in a safer way. Sometimes my kiddos, when they get really excited, they'll pinch me. And it's not that they're trying to hurt me, it's that they are so excited they don't know what to do with themselves. So I would either give them something soft that they can pinch and say, oh, you can pinch this instead. Or sometimes I'll even just take their hands and pinch and push their fingertips and see if they like that. So start replacing some of these behaviors if you feel like their stim is the way that they're stimming is a little bit harmful or distracting, and see what works. But know that they are trying to communicate something to you. Tip number 3, let your child veg out. So this is that read the situation thing I was talking about earlier. I'll have parents come up to me and they're great. They're trying to work with their kids at home on whatever strategies that I've been teaching them. And they're like, you know what? He works with you well at school, but then when we get home, he just wants to take off his clothes and he just wants to spin in circles. And honestly, I'm like, listen, at the end of the workday for me, I also want to like run home, take off my clothes and sit on the couch and just like relax. I don't want anyone to talk to me. I just want to maybe read a book or watch TV for like an hour and just nobody talk to me. And so if that's, you know, something similar to what you're going through, then that's totally typical. If your child is at school all day or for 3 to 4 hours and they're receiving therapy and they're kind of, you know, being overstimulated a little bit, then when they get home, they're not going to want to immediately go to the table and work with you on flashcards or read a book with you and answer all these questions because they've just been doing that for 3 to 4 hours or longer. So they might need that time to, you know, stim and just be exactly how he's supposed to be. And then after your child has a break and is able to kind of run around or, you know, stim on this favorite toy wheel or whatever it is, then you could try to transition him into an area that you can work on more things. And it's always easier to transition them if there is structure to the day. So if they are at school all day and then they come home, then it's snack time, you could veg out a little bit, and then it's time to work. And then you can have a visual schedule and he can actively see what's coming up next. Just a word of encouragement to you parents. I've talked to some of you guys who have expressed to me that it's really difficult for you to take your child out in public because of the stimming, and maybe some strangers give you some looks that make you feel really uncomfortable. And to that, I just apologize. That is us as a society failing you. There's no way or no reason why you and your child shouldn't be able to feel comfortable to access everything that your community offers. I feel that the more that you and your child are able to get out there, enjoy the community, then the more then the better it is for us, because you are out there educating everybody. I think that the more that you and your child are able to get out there, I think the better it is, because you're teaching us, everyone around you, to be more accepting and be more understanding. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Please feel free to share this video with anyone that you think it would benefit. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.